Minecraft 1.20 has plenty of features. If you just count blocks, mobs, and items, there are 99 to collect, and so for an update made of Tales and Trails, this update certainly has many great details. You can find the worst in this video, but here are the top 5 best, starting with something I put in a chest. I'm being serious when I say that. I destroyed an entire cherry grove, not because I hate it, but because of the opposite. I love the blocks that come from here so much. The community has waited so long. We used to make trees that looked so wrong, and I made this one in 2014, but the idea is even older, and when you compare it with the other woods, it's so much bolder, but also adds a whole new palette to Minecraft. You don't have to like the pink a lot to agree that it's definitely better than a pot, but it's even better because every single type of wood that you can find, from buttons to slabs to leaves to pressure plates and trapdoors, all exist in this form. I think they all look absolutely great, and the idea of being able to just build purely out of pink is enough for some people to be appealed by, but even if not, I think the wood is the thing that really sells this, because the cherry wood has a lovely wooden kind of look to it, as you can see, and it really fits so many different things. The cherry leaves can be fitted onto any type of tree, as I've certainly proved, and that is why I believe that the cherry grove is the 5th best part of this update, a very solid addition, and as far as a new biome goes, one of the best we've seen in a while. Speaking of not living, an honorable mention does have to be given to the banners on shields, which has been possible on Java since 1.9, but only came to Bedrock in this update. It is a great example of parity, and if you look at my shield design, you'll see that this is actually our shield design. But something that's more than fine has to be the archaeology, a whole new gameplay mechanic just for the sniffer. It might seem extreme, but when you look at the loot you can find, you'll know it's not a meme. Diamonds, TNT, and trims will get you on its team, and honestly, this comes in so many flavors, it might as well be ice cream. This idea had me the most skeptical when it was announced. I mean, do we really need to slowly brush blocks? It seemed incredibly silly, and there's a lot of changes they had to make to the brush and the ultimate way that suspicious gravel and sand work, but I think having these 5 separate structures that you do archaeology on, I think having them all have different loot tables makes it actually fun and makes it incredible when you do find the trail ruin, the granddaddy of archaeology, because it's really easy to sort through and find the loot, at least in theory. In reality, suspicious gravel looks so similar to gravel that if you have good lighting, you can maybe tell in half a second, but it still means you have to be careful with every single block that you shovel. A structure that you have to be careful of because you might break the loot is a really intriguing idea, and I think that the great thing about archaeology is not just how it was added and how it encourages you to go to lots of different parts of your existing worlds, but also the fact that there is more to update afterwards. Any new structures they decide to add to the game now, they have the possibility of adding archaeology as a way of putting lore in there. Already, the trail ruins have you asking so many questions about what sort of lost civilization has all these sorts of items, and that's because if we make a set of armor using each of the trims found in the trail ruins on some blue leather with some gold, do you notice what it looks like? If you don't, pay a little close attention to the wandering trader. Look at his head and the way that curves, look at the arms and the way it's just before the hands, and then look again at the way the trims look right here. Whoa, isn't that suspiciously similar? In fact, this isn't where the coincidences end. He's not just coincidentally wearing some blue trimmed looking armor right there. It's also, he loves emeralds, you might notice, and he's lost his civilization, maybe because it's long since been buried underground. He might be the remnant of his civilization, but the fact that it's, a theory you can make at all, the fact that we don't even know, is one of the things that makes this beautiful. It's a key part of adding lore to the game, but lore that players can create and explore on their own right. I mean, did they expect someone to make an armor trim website so we could show this off? Probably not, but I love the fact that the community climbs to these challenges, and I love features that encourage people to do that almost as much as I love this guy. I am aware this is a controversial inclusion on the list. In fact, I know there are some hardcore Minecraft haters who are going to be pissed because some people would argue this is one of the worst additions to the update. I mean, all he does is find 2 flowers. However, I would say that the sniffer is actually great. Maybe you can tell I think that by the giant one that I built in my Update Adventures Let's Play world, and then filled with sniffers, which apparently poke their head through the blocks. That seems like it probably shouldn't happen. But yeah, I love the sniffer, and it's a grower, not a shower, both in terms of its features, but also in terms of the physical mob itself. Seriously, look at the size of a baby sniffer, if we can find one over here, and then look at the size of the adults. They look so ridiculous next to each other, and honestly, so ridiculous as a whole, but the way they work is also pretty ridiculous. So you give them, every 10 minutes, the only thing they do is they'll dig for a seed if they're on one of the right blocks, and then if you use those seeds, you can breed them together, and they don't produce a baby, they produce an egg. The eggs have to be hatched into babies, which you could then move across the world wherever you want, wanted, and then the babies, eventually become adults after a really long time. But the fact is, everything about the sniffers is very, very slow, which makes them kind of a late game mob, in my opinion. What I really like about it is all of this stuff is super slow and methodical and kind of has to be done in the background, so it takes a lot of effort to get a room full of sniffers. One day when I have 100 sniffers packed in here, that will be a genuine proof of hours of labor, which, by itself seems dumb. Like, what is the point of having something which exists for the sake of existing? But I would say that makes the sniffer a late game mob. The only reason you need a bunch of sniffers in a room is if you wanted to have a bunch of either torchflower seeds or pitcher pods, very interesting types of flowers that honestly are kind of dumb on the visual aesthetic, but if you want to have a type of flower that shows you went through hours of effort, these are the only two types that exist that will do precisely that for you. And so I love the sniffer as a late game mob, basically. In the same way that the deep dark can be gone to at any point in the game, but it works way better later, I love that the sniffers are a mob which can be found anytime in the game, but just work way better if you wait for it a little bit. I do think this is a little bit of Mojang doing their whole, we have to have a useless mob in every update, but as far as the useless mob in an update goes, this is the least useless mob, which, honestly, I love that as a change. If this was a room full of pandas, do you know what they produce for me? Literally nothing. So the fact that he right now is going sniffing, and maybe he's even gonna get me a picture pod, that's pretty cool, right? I don't know what he found. I think it got picked up by the hopper minecart. Whatever, he found me something. Yeah, we have 44 picture pods now. I can make a 10 by 10 display of pictures. Isn't that nice that I can? In fact, I feel like I should do that at least once. Oh no, I picked one up already. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plant these down just in front of the sniffer because he loves them so much that he goes looking for them. I guess he's gonna be licking some of these. I don't know how that works, but yeah, let's leave this be and see what happens with it. So yeah, I do think that the mob would have been a lot better if we just had a third or fourth or even more plants, but even 2 plants right now. Oh, that was my first time planting one. Hey, rare achievement. Good job, me. Anyway, speaking of rare achievements, wow, see, by the way, that proves my point. The sniffer's been out for over a week now, and only 0.03% of people have gotten a single seed planted, which tells you either people don't care, I'll admit that could be true, but it also tells you that it's a lot of work for just a flower, but now that flower is a type of flex. Speaking of flexing, the second best feature in this update is also one that's really great, especially when it comes to farming, because bamboo is here, it's true, and it's even better than you think, because although bamboo has existed in Minecraft since 1.14, it's just been a weird way to get sticks and technically scaffolding too, yes, but it's been a weird kind of side feature in Minecraft, and so giving it its own wood type is a very bold move, because it is now the first fully farmable type of wood. This is great if you just aim to make these blocks of bamboo, which look like cactus, or if you want to make any other stairs or, the trapdoors, etc. But it also means that a whole new world of possibilities have opened up, because with any automatic farm, you can get insane numbers of these blocks of bamboo, and the blocks of bamboo can be turned straight into planks, which can then be turned into anything you like. Crafting tables, you can have infinitely farmable. You can have chests be done the same way, and I think that it's a really satisfying, again, it's the same thing as the sniffers, the more you get, the more you get. So it's satisfying to do as a manual farm, it's satisfying to do automatically, it's satisfying to do whatever your goal is, and if your goal is something really stupid like having a whole inventory full of crafting tables, then you can totally do that and no one can stop you. Do you want some chests? I want some chests. We can always use bamboo as our go-to kind of garbage wood, in the same way that for years you've been able to make sticks super cheaply using bamboo. Now you can do the same for every other type of wood. I think there are huge balance implications for this, and I'm sure they're very concerning for some people, but I think the overall just having access to a new type of wood is good enough for the casual player to enjoy, while also allowing advanced players to have this whole new world of possibilities, and for me, that means having a bunch of crafting tables. Speaking of crafting tables, the new armor trims were definitely made as a way to get people to their crafting tables and using their diamonds, balancing out the game. I've heard some people refer to the trims as a diamond sink, and that's definitely something I also think, because they want you to give them 7 diamonds for what is clearly just a duplication. It's overly expensive, and it is deliberately done so that each trim is extra rare without making it impossibly so. I think this is actually a fair balance, but that's where where the silence trim comes in, because unlike all of the other ones where you find once and you could choose to mine diamonds instead of just getting another one, the silence trim is so rare that even getting your first copy is an absolute dare. It is unimaginably, irresponsibly, irritatingly rare and found in one of the hardest parts of the game, but that's why it's so beautiful, because it gives you something, a challenge which you need to tame. I like the fact that going to the Deep Dark has an extra use now. I would say all of the diamonds makes it great for a new world, but as a long-term player, why would you need to go down there besides getting one disc? No, you need to go to lots of ancient cities in any long-term survival world, something which the Minecraft community have proven, because it's everyone's big challenge to try and get the silence trim. Obviously, some people like me get really lucky and find it in their first ancient city, and some people like Silent Whisperer, I believe he spent 8 hours and visited over 20 ancient cities. It was such a grind for some people, but that is the beauty of something that is RNG based. And I think that because it's purely cosmetic, it's not ruining either of our Minecraft experiences not to have it. Instead, it's just an incredibly fun thing to aim for, and although I would like to see more late game content that does have an effect on your world, in the same way that defeating the Wither gives you a beacon which you can use to supercharge your mining activities, I love beyond any explanation the way there are rare items in your world which make you it gives you this real boost when you get it, but you don't have to feel bummed when you don't. Not having all of the trims is not any downside to you. Your armor works exactly the same, but having all of the trims would be such a flex, and ultimately I think that's the fun thing that 1.20 kind of gets right as an update. It gives you a lot of things to aim for that you don't feel like you're missing out for not having. As much as I like the beacon, a lot of players feel like, why am I bothering mining unless I have an efficiency 5 netherite pickaxe with a beacon there, whereas no one's gonna feel like there's no point in making a flower field if they don't have 100 sniffers. No one feels like there's no point in making a crafting table biome because they don't have the bamboo wood. The reason you probably shouldn't is because it's a silly idea, but that won't stop me, damn it. No one is going to feel worse for not having the silence trim. They're just going to feel like they have this fun piece of armor if they do, and that is the beauty of this update. That is the beauty of what makes 1.20 great, and that is why I love this update, and these have been my top 5 features. I hope that you all enjoyed it, and oh, just by the way, before we go, I know you want an update on how my picture pods are doing. They're going pretty nicely, thank you for asking, but also you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more things, such as what the picture pods look like when they're fully grown up. I swear you can't find that anywhere else on YouTube, you just gotta subscribe right here, it's the only way it works. But also, it is a great way to support the channel, and if you want, you can go watch the 5 worst features in this update. I think a lot of people come across unduly critical or unduly favorable of Minecraft updates, when in this particular case, I think we have a really evenly mixed bag of both, which is why I figured I would go through both the top and the worst, and I figured to separate them into different videos so you could see from 2 very different perspectives how this update looks. With that said though, thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoy, go check out that video, and I'll see you, if you want, next Monday for another episode of the Let's Play. Goodbye. Those flowers are gonna grow real nice. It grew while I was recording. Yeah, goodbye for real though. You gotta go watch the other video.